Good morning, everyone. We are here to hear from Audie, who's going to be presenting on her senior exit, covering her 4 years in the Top Scholar program. We are going to hear from her, outlining her 4 years. Then we're going to open the floor first to staff members for any commentary and questions, then any faculty members, friends of the university, and then finally any students that may have anything they'd like to say or ask. So with that said, please join me in welcoming Audie.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my presentation, and thank you for everyone on Zoom as well, and for those of you who are Zooming in from India. I really appreciate it. So today I'll be going over my last 4 years of my college experience and different things that I've learned throughout the way. So while I was making my presentation, I was trying to think about what was the biggest lesson I learned every year. And so I kind of organized my years in themes. So my first year, I think what's a commonality between a lot of undergrad students is it was a year of firsts. I got a lot of new first exposures, and I learned to be comfortable in an area that's outside my comfort zone. So my first year, I started doing research at the Long School of Medicine at the Lee Lab, where I focused on Fragile X syndrome, which is the leading cause of autism spectrum disorders, the leading genetic cause. And I focused on a signaling organelle called primary cilia. And this was my first lab experience. So it was the first time pipetting, doing any experiments. And I really learned how to be meticulous. I learned how to be careful while doing experiments. And I learned how to pick up new techniques in a really fast pace. I had been really used to just studying in textbooks before this, but this was my first time, my first hands-on experience. And aside from the lab skills, I also learned how to advocate for myself. I was the youngest student in a lab full of postdocs and PhDs and med students. So I learned how to have my voice heard and how to have my ideas heard in an environment where I was the youngest. I was also able to present at a few conferences. I presented at the Center of Biomedical Neuroscience, where I placed first, and also the UTSA Undergrad Research Week. And this was also my first time really getting involved with public speaking. I had always been kind of scared of speaking in public, and I thought that was something that was like a big fear of mine. But I learned to really love public speaking. I learned to love to present my research, and I really built my confidence through presenting at various conferences. And a big part of my freshman year was also being involved with mentorship or teaching. So in high school, I was heavily involved with academic decathlon, and I wanted to continue being involved in undergrad. So I started coaching our high school team, and I would work with the kids every weekend, teaching different materials such as art and science. And I really fell in love with teaching in that sense. I also mentored two dance students. These are my students, Harsha and Isha, and I truly fell in love with teaching through this process. I really love being able to have a raw product, something that wasn't very developed, and work with the student to build their confidence and build their ability, and seeing them grow over the course of a year to be able to be confident and perform a solo debut that was very fulfilling. And I really fell in love with seeing that whole year-long process, which is also an aspect that I learned I love in healthcare as well. I also was an officer of ICSA, which is Indian Cultural Student Association. So this was the first year we had this organization on campus, and we had organized a few events on campus. So it was really fun being a part of that in the cultural aspect on campus as well. And for service, I was involved with Corazon Clinic my freshman year. So this was my very first experience in healthcare. So again, a year of firsts. This was the first time I was speaking with patients. I was taking vitals, doing soap notes. So I learned a lot about, again, the hard skills such as taking blood, taking vitals, but also just how to sit down and talk to a patient, how to make them feel comfortable, and how to really see the patient as a whole, not just the chart. So I learned about holistic medicine and really just making a patient feel comfortable to learn as much as I can about them. So it's really an invaluable experience. I learned so much from the medical students there and the doctors there. And it really just instilled in me that medicine is definitely what I want to pursue in the future. So my second year, I think this year I focused on continuing to develop the skills that I had gotten introduced to my freshman year, and also developing my confidence in those skills. So I started my sophomore year with an NIH REU at the Center of Mitochondrial Medicine. So my research here focused on mitochondrial and ER magnesium ion channels. and how they modulate cellular homeostasis and disease. So I focused on two ion channels, MRS2, which is the mitochondrial magnesium uptake channel, and ERMA, which is the ER magnesium uptake channel. And not to get too much into the details, but essentially our goal is to see how these ion channels affect disease. So it's cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, and neurological diseases. And how can we modulate ion channel activity to the best and most personalized treatment for patients? So I really love this experience because I was interested in several different diseases. I wanted to be involved in neuro, cardio, and metabolism. And so rather than joining 3 different labs, this was the perfect intersection where ion channels really govern so much of disease and govern so many different aspects of human homeostasis. So this was such a great experience to be involved in multiple disease systems. And throughout the year, I presented at several conferences. I presented at an NIH conference in Wisconsin, NCORE in California, and several other conferences in Texas. So again, I was developing my skills in the lab with doing experiments, but I also was developing my skills in speaking and presenting my research in an articulate way. And in my second semester of my sophomore year, I was able to be published as a co-author in Molecular Cell. So this paper was on the discovery of ERMA. So it was really incredible to be part of discovering a new ion channel in a cell. That was something I never imagined I could have done before. But I was able to work on the manuscript writing, the experiments, and I mentioned this before in my prior presentations, but the biggest lesson I really got out of co-authoring is how to deal with rejection. We had gotten rejection 3 times from Cell first, then Molecular Cell. And so I learned to take the reviewer feedback in a very positive way and how to incorporate other fields to continue to improve my skill set and continue to improve our research as well. So taking criticism in a really positive manner was a big lesson I learned from being part of this paper. In my sophomore year, I was really involved in clinical work. So I first volunteered at Hill Country Lifestyle Medicine with Dr. Venkat Srinivasan. This was the first time I was introduced to lifestyle medicine and preventative healthcare. And I really enjoyed being able to see medicine through both prescribing medications, but also using lifestyle changes. I think that's really important, especially in the disorders we see in Texas. It's a field that has been often overlooked, and I'm really glad I was able to be introduced to it. And it's something that I pursued further in my study abroad, which I'll talk about a little later. I also was a medical assistant and scribe at the Children's Hospital in San Antonio in both the Department of Peds Neuro and also Pediatric Neurosurgery. So pediatric neurology was a field that I wanted to pursue. I had an idea that I wanted to pursue this in the future, but really scribing and medical assisting here is what instilled in me that this is definitely the field I want to go into. I honestly can talk about this experience for a long time, but to keep it short, I wanted to focus on 3 main things. So the number one thing I learned about being a scribe is to work under pressure and to work in a very fast manner and to adapt my working abilities to different doctors. So I worked with 5 different doctors, and I learned that every doctor wants to know in a different way. And it's a quick 15-minute appointment, so I have to get everything done in that short time. So I really learned to keep calm under pressure and adapt my methodology to each doctor. And I learned about all the different fields of peds neuro. So I worked with a neuroepileptologist, with a neurogeneticist, neuropsychiatrist, and neuromuscular and neurodevelopmental. So I learned about all the different fields of peds neuro, and I'm yet to decide which field I want to join, but it was really amazing to see how these different spheres interact with each other to give the best possible care for a patient. And number 3, I also saw incredible novel genetic therapies. So I saw kids who had genetic disorders and these new CRISPR-based genetic therapies giving treatment to these children and essentially giving them a chance for a better quality of life. And what was really interesting is that part of my project in my very first lab was genetic therapy. So being able to see that from the bench side to the bedside, that was a very fulfilling moment. Even though that wasn't a genetic therapy I worked on, I was able to see something that I was pipetting, being able to actually treat a patient and improve their quality of life. And being able to see research in medicine that kind of instilled in me that that's the field I want to pursue in being a physician scientist. And for leadership, I started Natya Mayuris my sophomore year, which is the first Indian classical dance organization on campus. So we had dance was a really big part of my life, and I wanted to continue doing that throughout college, but we didn't have a team. So along with a few members at UTSA, we started our team, and we had a few performances throughout campus. And we also had guest artists from India come and do workshops. And what was really great is that we did workshops for the dance students at UTSA. So they had no prior experience in Bharatanatyam or Indian classical dance. So we were able to bring that aspect of our culture to UTSA. And for service, I was a officer in Project Sunshine. So this again was part of my passion in pediatrics, as that's the field I want to pursue. Through Project Sunshine, we volunteered at hospitals in the pediatrics section. We would bring activities to kids and essentially tried to give them a little bit of relief from their day-to-day life in the hospital. We also made cards that we would give out to the hospital, and we packaged play kits. I think around 1,700 play kits we packaged and sent throughout the US. So that was very fulfilling to be able to be involved in pediatrics, both in the clinical side, but also in this service aspect as well. So in my third year, I think the biggest lesson I learned was building discipline and resilience. But before I get to that part, I started my third year by studying abroad, which is something I never imagined I could do. So I'm very thankful for the Top Scholar program for giving me this opportunity. I studied abroad to Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. And my study abroad was focused on lifestyle medicine in Southeast Asia. So I was really inspired by the lifestyle medicine I saw in the clinic in San Antonio, and I wanted to learn how it is applied in other countries such as Asia, where it's a little bit more prevalent than we see in the US. So I learned about three different healthcare systems. All three were completely different. I learned about three different cultures. Again, all three were very distinct. And I also learned how lifestyle medicine is applied on a day-to-day basis, and there is less taboo around it. There's more acceptance towards lifestyle medicine. So that's something I'd like to bring in my future practice as well. And I was able to see Angkor Wat, which is on the left side, and that had been like a dream of mine since ninth grade. I wanted to see the architecture in Cambodia. So I was really grateful for that opportunity as well. And through learning about these distinct cultures, I think the biggest lesson I learned was when we're treating patients in America, we see a diverse patient population. And it's important for us to understand that cultural identity often shapes one's idea of quality of life or one's idea of healthcare. So having an understanding of distinct cultures, I think was very beneficial and hopefully very beneficial for me in my future career. And then right when I essentially took my flight back for my study abroad, and then for the next 6 months, I was studying for the MCAT. And I'm sure a lot of y'all saw me in the North Commons of JPL studying all day. And I spent 6 months of studying, took 17 practice exams, 8,000 practice questions, and 1,200 hours of studying. And it was definitely a very strenuous process. There was a lot of ups and downs. So that Excel is my practice test score. So it went up and it went down. And it really did test my resilience, but I took the exam on January 16th and I ended up with the 524, which is in the 100th percentile. And this really taught me that if I put my mind to something, it is definitely possible. And it taught me to, I think more than anything, it was discipline. The discipline of studying every day, even if I didn't feel motivated. That was the biggest lesson I got out of studying for the MCAT. And that's definitely something I'll carry with me while I'm studying for step 1 and step 2 and board exams. And along with studying for the MCAT, I was continuing to be the captain of UTSA Natya Mayuris. So my junior year, we were able to do a lot more performances. We performed in many UTSA events and our cultural San Antonio events as well. And what was really exciting about this was that we were introducing Bharatanatyam to an audience that had never seen Indian classical dance before. So learning to choreograph our dances to be more familiar for an audience that was not familiar with Bharatanatyam, that was an interesting challenge. And I really loved being able to share this part of my tradition with our UTSA community. And I was able to be a lot more involved in choreography and that creative aspect of dance as well. And then for service, this is, I think, my most favorite project I've done throughout my 4 years at UTSA. So I was a volunteer teacher at the Rise School of San Antonio, which is a school for children who have various neurodevelopmental disorders. So that includes CP, SMA, Downs, autism. And I would spend almost, I think, 3 days every week with these kids. I really fell in love with them. There was 12 children that I took care of with various neurodevelopmental disorders. But really being able to see them grow over the 6 months that I was there, that was something that was so fulfilling. So seeing them reach benchmarks such as crawling for the very first time, kids that have SMA that couldn't walk, seeing them crawl for the first time, or seeing kids eat for the first time on their own. That was very fulfilling to be part of that journey. And I also was very inspired by how different fields of medicine really work together to give the most personal care for kids. So I would see a neurogeneticist work with an OT and a PT and a speech therapist, and everyone would modify their treatment for every kid in particular. So I was able to see peds neuro both from the hospital and from in this aspect as well, seeing the kids in a day-to-day life. And so that, I mean, I loved working with the school so much. And I also was very lucky to work with Dr. Venkat Srinivasan in organizing two different workshops. We first organized a med school preparation workshop. Something that I feel like I struggled with as a freshman was really learning how to navigate the whole med school system. I think it's really complicated. There's a lot of information out there, but it's hard to really manage all that. So I worked with Dr. Srinivasan to organize a workshop for younger college students and high schoolers to really help guide them in applying to medical school. And as well with that, we also organized a stress resilience lifestyle-based workshop. And this was really interesting because I got to bring what I learned from Southeast Asia about lifestyle medicine, along with the aspect of dance and lifestyle medicine, to organize a workshop for high school students in managing their stress and promoting resilience, especially as they transition to college. And moving on to my final year. So I thought my senior year would have been a year of concluding everything that I had been working on. But I think while making this presentation, I realized that it was more year of firsts again. So it was like my freshman year all over again. And it definitely was a lot more growth and learning than concluding anything. So first and foremost, I think a lot of you know that I've been spending a lot of time at lab this year. And so I just wanted to share some of my what I've been working on. So first, we published a paper in JBC. It's on the structural basis of EEPD1. This is a protein that interacts with SARS-CoV-2 virus. So being involved, I really learned a lot about the structural aspect while working on this paper. We also have two papers that are in review. One is on the structural and mutational analysis of IRMA, which was that protein that we had discovered my sophomore year. And then one is on the interaction between prohibitin and MRS2 and how that shapes mitochondrial bioenergetics. So we have submitted them to, or they're under review in Science Advances and Molecular Cell. And I really want to talk about the Science Advances paper because I think more than the molecular cell paper that I published sophomore year, I was really involved with the Science Advances paper from when we submitted the manuscript. I looked through all the figures and I saw that I had worked on all the data, well, not all the data, but every single figure I had data that I had worked on, and every single paragraph there was text that I had worked on. So I feel that I had put in a lot of effort and I learned so much throughout. It took us 3 years to get to this paper. So I learned so much in those 3 years about developing my skills as a scientist and developing my skills in writing as well. So I feel very, very proud of this paper, and I'm hoping to see it published soon. And in preparation, I have two papers. One is on zinc homeostasis and its role in cardiotoxic and hepatotoxic drug toxicity. So this was very exciting because I'll be a first author on this paper. We'll be publishing in the coming months or submitting in the coming months. And this was definitely a first for me because being first author meant that I was involved in conceptualizing the study and designing all the experiments and running the experiments. So I really got a lot of autonomy, which I'm very thankful for my mentors in lab for giving me that opportunity to really allow me to show my creativity as well in research and giving me the opportunity to pursue different interests and pursue different experiments. And this is also a multi-omics paper. So this was completely new to me. A year ago, I had no idea what multi-omics was, but we're working on analyzing proteomic, transcriptomic data to create this paper. So again, this was a year of firsts as well for me. And I'm also working on a clinical paper, pulmonary rehabilitation in PTLD. So this is interesting because I got to take my interest in ion channels and see it in a clinical aspect. So this is the first clinical paper that I'm working on, and we'll be submitting, I think, this week, this paper. So yeah, a lot of new things in my research part of my life, I think. And the majority of my senior year has been applications. So I started applications May 1st of last year, and I made my final decision 2 weeks ago. So it was almost a whole year of applications, a whole year of writing primary essays, secondary essays, interviewing, and finally 2 weeks ago when I made my decision. So just a few like stats, I guess. I applied to 20 schools. I applied to all the Texas schools along with 7 out-of-state schools. I interviewed at 19 of those schools. So again, all the Texas schools plus Cleveland Clinic, NYU, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Columbia, and Cornell. So I was interviewing a lot. I was on Zoom quite a bit throughout the months of August to December. And then I was accepted into 15 schools. So I pre-matched into all the Texas schools and I've got acceptances from Hopkins and Cornell. And that led me to, after a lot of pros and cons lists, a lot of Excel worksheets, I landed on a final 2 that I was deliberating against, Hopkins and Baylor. Both of these schools were like dream schools of mine that I was imagining since I was a freshman in high school. So it was, first of all, I was very grateful to get these acceptances. And both of these schools are heavily involved with pediatric neurology, which is the field I want to pursue. So I definitely had a hard time deciding between the 2 of them. But I did decide that I will be going to Baylor College of Medicine this July, and I'll be on the Baylor Merit Scholarship as well. So very excited to see what the next 4 years will be like. Uh, Again, Baylor has been a dream of mine. So being in TMC, being around the pediatric neurology research and being at Baylor, I'm extremely excited to see what the next 4 years holds. But I think this definitely would not have been possible without all of my mentors. So I want to take time to thank all of my mentors. So first of all, Dr. Perry. I think Dr. Perry has been my biggest support throughout the last 4 years. So I took your Bio 1 class, and then over the last 4 years, I've been coming to your office hours and having lots of discussions with you. Um, I think more than, first of all, I learned so much about science, about how to think scientifically and pursue that in my career from our discussions, but also you had given me so much support, especially when I was doubting myself during applications. Dr. Perry connected me with a lot of his colleagues and helped me during my applications. And I also was able to publish an article with him as well. And I mean, Dr. Perry is one of the biggest researchers in Alzheimer's, but the fact that you took time to really know me and to really support me over the last 4 years, I'm very grateful for everything that you've done for me. Dr. H, which is every pre-med's biggest support. But again, I've known Dr. H since selection, when I was applying to Top Scholar. And I felt very almost like I didn't really know how to apply to medical school, but really discussing with you gave me so much information about how to go through this process. And throughout the entire application process, you helped me so much with interviews, with interviewing, with essays. And I think I've taken a class with you every single semester since I was a sophomore. And then Dr. Venkat Srinivasan, I think he's on the Zoom. Definitely, he is my biggest clinical mentor. What I really loved about Dr. Srinivasan is seeing how he made that long-term connections with patients, how he made them feel comfortable, and how he really took their personal life into consideration when giving treatments and diagnoses. And that's the kind of doctor I want to be in the future. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have learned from him. And then my research mentors, Dr. Madesh Munaswamy and Dr. Venkatesan, I'm really grateful for the fact that they pushed me beyond my limits. They did not allow me just to sit with one experiment and stay with that the whole time. They were constantly telling me to learn something new, do something new, make a new idea. And they have given me so much autonomy and given me the opportunity to mentor other students as well. And of course, Christy and the entire Top Scholar faculty, your support has been invaluable to me the last 4 years. I felt like I had always someone on my side, even when I was studying for the MCAT and applying. So thank you for everything that you have, all the support and guidance that you have given to me. And I want to thank my friends in the program as well. So Colin, Zaina, Emily, Jose, Anna, everyone. I'm very thankful for all the support that y'all have given me throughout the last 4 years. I think I got stressed a lot. So y'all really helped me keep calm during all the stressful times in college. And I want to thank my family as well, my brother, my parents, and then my aunt and uncle who are on the Zoom call right now. Y'all really inspired me to go into medicine, and thank you for all the support you've given me. And that's all. Thank you.
Well, I'll start. Audie, it's been great to be a small part of your journey here. I hope you will stay connected to us, and I know that the attorney is really important to you. I know you're also very busy. But, even just a few moments with students can make a big difference. So, I hope you will stay connected with us. I think your, ability to kind of weave together practices that are more lifestyle and non-Western medicine, I guess is the only way I know how to put it, with this really research heavy emphasis is something that a lot of folks aspire to do. And so it's really impressive that you've been able to actually do that. And I have no doubt they will, will do incredibly well. And I also think your patients are going to be really fortunate to have you as a physician. If we fast forward 10 years from now, I think they're going to be a really good. And I wouldn't say that to any pre-med student. I think there are a lot of good students out there that I go, I want to be a teacher. But I would never say that about.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
And beyond your professional and academic accomplishments, it's just so great to have such a personality-wise great person in the program. So when we remove this laundry list of accomplishments, knowing that we were able to guide you into becoming not just a better professional or an aspiring professional, but a better person and a better member of society has just been really, really inspiring and really just valuable for us as staff, certainly. So job well done, Adi, and good luck in your ventures. And don't forget about the little people.
Your questions?
I went to your high school certificate presentation and you were this shy girl. And I think you showed a lot of maturity in that growth. So out of your shell a lot, you were able to stand up here and present for a half hour. It's always a good thing. The other thing I wanted to say was that I'm sure when you were working in the daycare, you could see the resilience those children have. So when you have a bad day with a patient or a child, from its resilience and how they typically, probably not always, but a majority of the time, they find a way to make the life they have a happy life. So.
Fernando has his hand raised.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, sorry I can't be there in person, but I just want to echo what Christy and George said. Like, wow. Like, I texted George mid your presentation, and I was like, I can't stop crying. I'm just so proud of you, Audie. You're going to be a great physician. Like Christy said, your patients are going to be so lucky to have you. And I'm just so, so, so excited to see what you do next.
That's better. Thank you, Fernando.
Yeah, I do. I definitely have something to say for sure. I have to get to my class here in a little bit, so I need to talk to you personally about this. You know, I was like, how do I tell her this? There's literally nothing I could say other than, wow, like I knew this about you all through the time that we've been, in contact with. I mean, once upon a time, I sat next to a little girl who was so quiet and so introverted and just very pleasant and very sweet little girl at the table when we did the top scholar when I first met you 4 or 5 years ago. And I, very unassuming. I just thought, wow, like I wish my students always the best, but I never thought this was going to happen. I'll be really honest with you. I was like, wow, like she just has blown this out of the water. She has set a standard that I don't know how to be able to replicate this with another student. I mean, you've set a bar that is really, really high for other shy little girls that are coming after you. And so now, you've taught me a lesson in like, pay attention, right? Pay attention to those shy little girls, like talk to her, see what's going on in there because that's a magnificent mind that you have. And you have a magnificent way of blending so many things together that have, produced what I see as a woman which is ready for the next career level. And so I just want to say, thank you for teaching us a lesson for sure. To, not make any assumptions about any students, to know that every student has the potential to be as great as you. I want you to know, I am especially proud of you because for the first time I can honestly say, I got a student in Baylor. I mean, I've had a student at every school in Texas except Baylor. That was my personal mentee. And so I cannot wait to brag about you to everybody that will listen to me, even strangers, right? To echo a little bit about what Christy was mentioning, the one thing that I know, and I've inculcated this into the classes, is, we're not done with you. You're not done with UTSA, right? You're not done with Top Scholar. You're not done with Honors College. We hope that you can come back whenever you get a chance and inspire other shy little girls, right? To keep on track, to know that it's possible that you can become as successful as you've already become. And to give UTSA and Top Scholar and Honors College just a fantastic name and reputation, right? Just based on all of your accomplishments. We want to continue to do that. I want to continue to do that with other students, right? Just like you. That will be such an inspirational moment for these little girls. You are going to be such an incredible role model for, not just little girls, but little boys too, right? To really follow in your footsteps and connect with you. So come back and join us. That you help with the interviews, help Christy give a talk to the Honors College, give a talk to the Top Scholar. Come to the banquet, sit at my table, right? Let's eat together and have a really good time. So again, we can be reminded of the good work that you have done, but also we can remind ourselves as professors of the good work that we do. We need this. This serves to me as motivation. Like, I'm doing everything I can to get her there. Everything in my life, even if it's a fraction of what everyone else has done. To me, this is like, I helped, I did that, you know what I mean? And so I want to continue to do that for other students just like you. So congratulations. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Thank you, Dr. H.
Well, I'm delighted you're going to Baylor College of Medicine, of course, being an alumni. There have been other people in the last few years that have gone to Baylor, another one of the students I've been to. I'm excited about that. I know you'll be a neurologist who'll be happy, not complaining like all my friends. I told you it was one of the marks of neurologists are never happy. Neurosurgeons are happy and psycho, and neurologists are always happy. And I'm thinking about what you could do to do better. I don't know. I haven't really figured that out yet. Could have had a couple extra papers.
I'm
Could have ran a
working,
marathon. I don't know. Let's see what else.
I'm working on the papers.
What's that?
I'm working on the papers.
I know.
We'll get more.
Yeah, following the thing. Yeah, it's really hard to do all of those things together. I don't think I've ever known anyone, an undergraduate or graduate, who have such a well-rounded, high level of accomplishments at UTSA or anywhere else.
Thank you. Anyone have any other questions?
So, like, I'm gonna miss you so much. I'm like trying not to get emotional thinking about it, but I don't know. I mean, we met when we were 17, and now we're leaving, and it's so sad. But I'm so incredibly proud of you. I've never had a similar interaction with you where I walked you in and I thought I'm any less happy, you know what I mean? Like talking with you has always been so sweet and so energizing, and you've always been so funny and such an interesting person. But seeing all of this just really puts into perspective how long these 4 years have really been, because it really feels like we were in quad yesterday, but I'm so incredibly proud of you. I'm genuinely blown away by all of this. And I mean, like 100th percentile Audie, like that's insane. Like that's crazy. But of course you would. Like the first person that comes to mind of like who would have even been able to do that since like freshman year, I was like, it's gonna be Audie. Like always. I knew it, you know? But I love you so much and I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy that we've known each other all these years.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Can I add that I just never found you to be a shy girl?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
In fact,
that.
quite the opposite. She would always ask the most difficult questions. Not on the Bloom's taxonomy scale, it was near the base, and somewhere near the top, of which I couldn't answer, or I had to work my way through it.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm so glad you didn't. I mean, like I remember having conversations about how much time you spend on dance, is it worth still trying to do some of that? And I'm so glad that you did, or when you decided on your study abroad, and I remember having conversations about, you know, do you go with a more kind of cookie cutter program, and you were thinking about taking classes, and you know, where could you go overseas that had the most rigorous biology class or had a neuro class, and you took that chance and did something very different. And I think that really spoke to your bravery on a lot of different fronts to really try and do something that was maybe a little more uncomfortable. Because it might not have necessarily been on the checklist for what was gonna get you into that school. But you still did it, and you did it really, really, really well.
thank you. Thank you, Christy.
Keep being brave.
Okay, thank you. I think if that's anyone has any questions or anyone on Zoom.
I don't see.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming to my presentation, especially Dr. Perry, Dr. H. Thank you for taking the time to come today. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.